Maybe we should have Leanne actually check. Normally I'm checking.
Like chat and stuff?
I don't know if she'll chat, but we should at least like check and make sure. We have no idea if we're live.
We're live on something.
You know what? I probably won't be able to do that. Let's look on Facebook.
Yeah, people on Facebook. Terrible? You didn't say it was terrible before. Okay, you are live.
Are you seeing it? Maybe I should start talking to people.
You look normal.
Woo! Look at that. What is that on Facebook?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just Tiffany who gets pixelated. Maybe that's the whole thing.
All right. Totally.
Hello, everybody. All right. Well, we're getting things set up. So get a cup of coffee, settle in. Got a lot of paper to deal with today. We'll get started at 10. In the meantime, this is what it looks like.
I don't know why it's working now, but I will take it.
Well, you restarted like all the things, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's just it. See how many people can break away from HSN right now. I was watching it. What's on? It was it's not Tiffany, so you have no business watching. A brother or something. Oh, a machine, a sewing machine. Okay. So we're on live stream and we're on Facebook and YouTube. Oh my gosh, all the things. Okay, it's still not 10 yet, so we'll just, let me think, what is there to talk about? Oh, I didn't bring the list of things that Tiffany is going to be on HSN for. She started at some horrible hour this morning. I think it was like 7 o'clock our time, so it was like 4 o'clock. Oh, do you want to turn the lights on? Can you see me, people? Wow! This might be too much information, but here we go. This is what happens when Tiffany's not here, is that it? I know that oh, wow, okay. It had to have been better without all that. Is that seriously not too much? Okay. Hey, everybody. Tiffany's doing I know what the stuff that she's going to be doing is the die file, this thing. She's going to do all the fabric stuff. So I think today's craft day has a lot of fabric things too. They're doing a lot of sewing things. But a lot of those things can also be used for crafting stuff. We're just not, we're trying to get sewers organized too. So anyway, so the die file and all the sewing stuff. And then I think that there were some other things. I saw one of the like Instagram posts showed things that are like older returning things, like the gift wrap cart and apron, and a couple other things that they had. They're pulling out for craft day. So anyway, be sure to watch that later. But for now, we're going to do Get Organized Challenge. Still have another minute. No. You know, there used to be like a box that had all this stuff. Hold on a second, people. There was like a box that has all the batteries and things. Okay, it's not back there anymore. Is it right? No, those are just little Post-it notes. Look in the front of her cart right there. Is it? No, right beside you. Is there anything like in the front top? She'd keep it handy where it wouldn't get lost. Hmm. No, doesn't get recorded. It's totally fine. Okay, it's got to be 10 now. Right here. Oh, knocking stuff over. Okay, it's got to be 10 now, right? Yes. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the GOC, Get Organized Challenge. If this is your first time, I am not Tiffany. It doesn't even say Tiffany. Tiffany is at HSN today for Craft Day. So I am Karen, and I'm going to be taking you through paper organization. Let's see. Let's go over the basic things. So normally, if I'm not up here, I would normally be monitoring live stream and YouTube and Facebook and answering questions there. So normally, if you have a question, you type in the word question and then type your question. And I'd say go ahead and still do that now, and the people that are in the chat can try to answer things for you. But whatever doesn't get answered during class, I'll go through and look and see what kinds of things are needing to get answered still, and we'll answer it in the follow-up email. Which brings me to another point. The way that you get the follow-up email is if you got the reminder email, that's just because you're on our mailing list. If you got a live stream notification, that's just because you're following Tiffany on live stream. Same with YouTube. Facebook, just because you get notifications from Facebook when somebody goes live. But our email that was a reminder saying that the class is starting that went out yesterday, we send that to everybody. But the follow-up email we only send to the people that are on the Get Organized Challenge list. So if you have not been getting them, and I heard from a bunch of you last week and we got you on the list or found it in your junk mail, but if you didn't get a follow-up email last week, it's possible that you're not on the list. So check that or check your junk email, because that's a lot of times where they land. But in the follow-up email, I will answer any questions that didn't get answered during class and give you your homework and all that kind of stuff. And that's where your coupon code comes from. So make sure that you're getting the follow-up email. If you're bothering to do any of this, you need to get the follow-up email. So let me see. So we had progress posts. There were a lot of awesome progress posts. The first week, it's really funny. As you go through the 8 weeks, there's so many progress posts for the first couple of weeks, and it starts petering out. And you get to the end, and there's not as many progress posts. So it's awesome that everybody gets started strong, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you've got to get started strong, and then you've got to just be plodding along. Don't worry. It's not a sprint. Really just be doing the steps to the best of your ability, taking small steps repeatedly, and you'll get through to the end. So of the progress post, the whole point of doing that is so that you can get $25 gift certificate prize. And if you don't do Facebook, or there's another thing that comes up every GOC, the Get Organized Challenge group is a public group. The whole point of it is that we can reach more people that way. And I mean, we are a business. We don't exist if we don't sell some products. So we keep it a public group because that's a way to reach people. People see posts, they show up in the way that Facebook does that. If you post something, it'll pop up, somewhere it says, "Hey, your friend Sue posted this," or I don't know how that works, but it is a public group. So if you don't feel like putting your pictures and posting your things on a public group where all of your friends and family might see it, people in the past have actually created a separate name that they use. You could be Sue1, or whatever. Just create another profile, get back into the group with that profile, and then you know who you are. Everybody else knows who you are. Your friends and family won't see things that post in the Get Organized Challenge group. So that's an option. Or you can just get over it and post pictures anyway. But I totally get not doing that. But some people have been incredibly brave and just post their before pictures, say, hey, this is what it is. And that's an awesome way of accountability and getting the buy-in and all that kind of stuff. So do that. Post your progress post there. It doesn't always have to include a picture, but it can. Progress posts on the Get Organized Challenge page. But if you don't want to do that, or if you don't have Facebook, you can email us at customerservice@totally-tiffany.com. And one of our winners today is from the email. Let me see. That was, no, not that one. Okay. It was Melissa Merritt. So congratulations, Melissa. She sent some before pictures, and there's, she just has a very full craft room. It's nothing horrible. But she's saying she's a Sophia crop a lot, so she figured out, which one is that? Is that the one that goes to the crops? That's the one that I think only crops outside the home. She's saying even though she doesn't do that as often as she likes, she has things just kind of scattered around. She says, I don't know if a scrap wrecker is right for me. I'm not sure I'd be able to carry it to crops. Spoiler alert, we're going to go over that in week 8. And she also doesn't know where it would fit in her room. Well, that is something that we have said the scrap rack makes room for itself. People have shared pictures of piles of all the bins and totes and boxes and stuff that you empty. It really does make room for itself. The scrap rack is this size, holds thousands of items. And if you were to put those into totes, it would fill all of this. So really, it'll make room for itself. So don't worry about that, but don't feel like you have to have that right now. And I'm only saying that because I know other people are thinking that as well. So the scrap rack is definitely the most efficient use of space, but you don't have to have that to do this. Use what you have, make things work, get the system going, and then later if you decide that the scrap rack is really something you want to add, by all means, switch over to one. She also had some questions about how things would fit in the pockets and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure Leanne answered that. So we'll do that when it comes to embellishments, and that is a couple of weeks from now. Okay, so congratulations, Melissa. The other one is Tara Gassman. Congratulations, Tara. I'm assuming it's Tara, not Tara. She is, it sounds like she's kind of new. Let me see. Not a scrapbooker. That's right. She joined the Organized Challenge because she has vinyl and leather and tools and things like that. So she's clearly a crafter. She's just not scrapbooking. And that's something that's really important. Some people think this is only for scrapbooking, but I'm not a scrapbooker. I have all the stuff to do it, but I don't do it. I'm a card maker, altered books, crafting, all that kind of stuff. And we share a lot of the same materials. So this is not exclusively for scrapbooking. So I want, put everybody's mind at ease, but the system works. So Tara, you're going to learn how to keep together what you use together. And the 4-section system, I'm assuming, is still going to work for you, even if it's just rainbow. It's keeping the mental process of how to organize. So you're going to do great. And these are fun pictures. You got your benefit board and everything. So each of those ladies are going to get a $25 gift certificate. Tara, if we don't have your email, email us at customer service. And obviously we have Melissa's because she emailed us. So we will send you that $25 and you'll be able to shop for something at totallytiffany.com. Okay, let me see. What else do we need to go over? Oh, in your reminder email and on the website is the handbook, the step-by-step part of each I keep wanting to call the classes like chapters or something. Each week there's a new handout, and you can get that in the reminder email, in the follow-up email, on the website under each class. So get that. It really has a lot of good information, a lot of your reminders. It gives you all your homework. and links to products if you're looking for something specific. But otherwise, I think that's all the reminders. So who's ready to sort some paper? Max is. That's nice. Max is behind the camera, by the way, and I was talking about putting him in front of the camera today because with Tiffany gone, someone had to be here. And I'll tell you, he was talking about just telling you to just throw all your paper away. So we're going to save you from that negativity, and I'm going to tell you how to organize your paper so you can use it. So Max is not a crafter or scrapbooker or anything. That's okay. He doesn't need to be. Okay, so if you did your first week, your homework for your first week, you have come up with your themes and sentiments list. We're going to start with that because everything that we sort now going forward is going to be based on your themes and sentiments. They may change. I don't remember if Tiffany talked about that from the beginning, but they may very well end up changing. When you're just sitting down before you've just gathered things, you think you remember basically what you have and you know what kinds of things you normally scrap about and stuff. But don't do any like permanent labeling at this point. Do everything with sticky notes and just keep it fluid, because by the time you're done, you may end up changing some topics. You may, well, I don't know, you might have something that you thought was like, you had a vintage section or something like that, and really all you have is like Ren Fair or something. I don't know. You can change things as you go, and there's going to be probably some subcategories as well. So just realize that it's going to be fluid. Change it on your list. This is a printed out list. You can print it out so you can go by it, but then plan to be changing as you go so that you can redo that. But we're going to start with that. And when we're sorting paper, because most of our paper is 12 by 12, what we're going to recommend is that you store paper vertically. And if you can sort paper vertically as well, it obviously takes up a lot less space on your counter. If you have nothing, if you don't have some kind of vertical paper storage box like this, even a tub or a crate, it's just that those are generally fairly large, and so things are just going to kind of fall down in it while you're going. But whatever you can do to make it vertical, that's going to be easier to sort than if you're laying stuff out on the floor, on the table, but that can be done. So depending on how you're going to be sorting, make some kind of sorting. If you're going to sort on table and stuff, make like paper that you write the category on, lay it down, and then be adding your stuff, on top of that. So it's going to be all of your themes and sentiments and then the colors of the rainbow. But actually, let me back up. Instead of doing like all of your themes and sentiments, you should do maybe just the alphabet to begin with. And then within that, if you can zoom in on this, if you start with, these are our paper storage box dividers, and on each one of the tabs, there is a shut your flap tab that has just the letters on this. And then we've got some that have colors. And if you start with just that, this is the more of a major sort. And then if you know for sure that you have certain things like, you're going to have a birthday section, you can have this kind of a tab, which again is a shut your flap tab. This is just the large one. If you know you have birthday, you have baby, you have beach, you can have these ready so that when you're going through and you find you're putting everything into your B section, that as you sort into your B section, you realize this one is for sure going to be beach. You can go ahead and stick beach tab right on that, and then keep filing, and anything that's beach is going to go behind there. Other B's are just going to go in front of it, and that's going to be a way to do a little bit of pre-sorting as you go. But otherwise, don't worry about making a tab for each item on your themes and sentiments list, because you may or may not actually have all of these things. This is a what I want to say. This has been refined over time. You might have something that only has, I don't know, 10 different subjects. So, or you might have something that has, like 100 different subjects. You may or may not actually want a tab for all of those things, is what I'm saying. So do it by alphabet first. So before, if you do not have things like our paper storage box dividers, use something you do have. You can use chipboard with some kind of a tab. This is like a really official tab. You can just use some old cardstock and put some kind of a tab on it, but just something that's gonna be bigger than your paper, and that you'll be able to easily just file behind, because that's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be the easiest way. If you don't have some way to do it vertical, or you just prefer laying it out over the living room and dining room, by all means, just lay out your pieces of paper that say the different colors and the different themes, and then just lay the stuff on top that way. Okay, so that is the physical aspect of it. But then there's always okay, what do I do with this paper? What do I do with that paper? Okay, so when we're sorting, do I really need to show this? I don't know that I need to show it. Really, as you're going through, okay, so fall paper, obviously, this is going to go into fall. This one, I would say, is summer. This one is summer. So that just goes in there, and you're just going to plow through this quickly. Okay, these are a sheet of stickers, but that's going to be fall. Am I doing that right? I think that's what that says. More fall stuff. Okay. There's the kinds of questions that come up are, what about mixed colors? What about stripes? What about glitter? What about all the different things? Okay, so when we get to the solid colors, I think you guys understand themes well enough. You know if something is very clearly fall or Thanksgiving or something like that, it goes into the calendar year. Something that's baby obviously goes into a theme. Birthday, sentiment. So no problem with that. The real struggle people tend to have is rainbow. And like we said earlier, don't fight the rainbow, just embrace the rainbow. Don't fear the rainbow. Putting all of your paper into a rainbow category, if it doesn't fit any other category, it's not a theme, it's not a calendar year kind of a thing, whether it's solid or not solid, it goes into rainbow. So these are pretty obviously solid sheets of paper. There's not going to be any problem figuring out where those go. But when you get into things that are, why are there no samples of that? Hold on a second. Let's see if I can find a sample of something. Okay, we're going to talk about those in a second. Okay, so let's say there was this one that was striped. If you have, oh, here, this is a good one. So striped paper, double-sided is a big challenge too. These are single-sided, but striped paper, this one is obviously, okay, this one's pretty basic. This is just one color stripe, so no big deal. It's going to go into your orange section, but what seems to work best is if you have, within your colors, you know that you're also going to have a basic color section of stripes, dots, patterned, floral, glitter, maybe even vellum, all of that within each color category. So make a list of what you have as you're going through, And if you make it really consistent at the back of every color section, you know that first you have stripes, then you have dots, then you have plaid, then you have floral, then glitter, and then vellum or something, whatever it happens to be, keep it consistent so that every time you're going through your stuff, you're looking for an orange, just something orange and floral. You go to that section, and if there's no floral paper there between the polka dots and the plaid or whatever I'm sure I'm messing that up, then you don't have orange floral paper and you're going to have to look for something different. But if you do that kind of a thing, it doesn't have to be all mixed in with just the shade of orange like you would if it was a solid color. Put these things at the back. If it's multicolor, okay, this one's a pretty simple multicolor. This is still very predominantly green. So to me, I would either, oh, look at that, it matches my fingernails. I would either put this into green, because that's predominantly what it is, or I would put this into spring, because it looks absolutely like spring or summer. Or the other big way that you need to be sorting your stuff is, why did you buy it in the first place? So there will be a gazillion Facebook posts of, where do I put this? A lot with paper, more with embellishments. And the question is always going to be, why did you buy it? And if it was for a specific purpose, or when you look at it, oh my gosh, I think of my granddaughter and her daisy hat that she had, and she was, whatever. If that's what you think of, then you put that in the category where you're going to find it for that purpose. If it was just because you thought it was pretty, or it came in a set or whatever, then you don't have to, you can put it in something that's more like, what color is it, or what does it look like to you? So if this looks like spring to you, put it in there. If it doesn't look like anything, you still think it's pretty. If it looks like you'd only ever use it for a little girl page, put it in boys and girls, like children. So this is how it becomes very custom to you and exactly how you craft, how you create things. You have to be thinking about where you're going to want to find this later. So if you just like the idea of it being green with a little splash of some other color, put it in your green, do that. If there's multicolored things, okay, this one's totally multicolor. Here we go. This is so multicolor that I'm not sure. You'd look at this and see, the idea is you get the predominant color in it. I don't know that there's a predominant color in this. It is super, very much evenly dispersed, I think, between all of them. But the whole point is that you don't agonize over it. Pick the predominant color, or the whatever it says to you as soon as you see it. I would almost put this back in spring again. This looks really good with this. Both of these to go together in spring. Or if that says little girl, whatever it happens to be. But multicolored ones, if there's no obvious theme, pick the predominant color, move along. Wow, this is a whole set, isn't it? So here we go. Multicolor and stripes. This one's tough. This one I might struggle with this one. I would probably put this in spring under stripes. Most multicolor ones are very obvious. Is like, that's mostly green, stick it in that. It's mostly orange. Like something like this, if you weren't doing ocean and you just looked at this one, okay, here's the other thing. This one's two-sided. You get to pick which one you think you would be more apt to use and then file it in that. Pretend like you don't have an ocean category or a beach category that this would go into. You look at this and you say, okay, I would never use that side. I would totally use this side. Predominantly that's orange. Put it in the orange section. And then quickly do it and move to the next one. You make quick decisions. Don't agonize over it. Don't struggle over it. We all know that you have enough paper to last a really long time. If you misfiled something, don't go for perfection. Go for speed and getting through this stuff. Do the best that you can with a quick decision. Put it away. later in a year or two, you happen to be going through your orange section and go, oh, that's weird. I wonder why that's filed in here. I would totally put this in Ocean now. Move it. We're done. No big deal. You didn't lose anything, but you will lose a lot of your sanity and your time if you struggle over all of this now. So do it in small amounts, get through quickly, and you'll have a better time. Okay, so I think that explains a lot of the sorting of that stuff. When it comes to paper stacks, who's got paper stacks? I have seen pictures of tall towers of paper stacks. Okay, so with paper stacks, this one is one particular category. Sometimes they're just a rainbow. This one is a category. It's all beach. Before I say how to store it, I'm going to do Tiffany's little song and dance about why you should or shouldn't have paper stacks. What Tiffany has suggested doing is figuring out how many pages out of your paper stack you've used. Even if you got it at 40% off, it's still, like $15, I think, for some of these. Maybe it's more like 10. But if you've only used 2 sheets of paper out of it, that's a $5 a sheet. If you only like 2 sheets of paper, you probably shouldn't have bought it. Basically, really think about the paper stacks and whether or not it's worthwhile having all that. Are you really going to use all the things? And if this one's really cool. I hate going through Tiffany's stuff and shopping and going, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Why do I not have some of this? This one's really cool. Okay. If you would use all the sheets, at least more than half, okay, fine. With a coupon, go ahead and get it. But the way that you're going to remember that you have this is not to put it somewhere else in a different section. You're going to put it right with your other papers. So if you've got paper storage boxes, let me turn them towards you. And you've got your whole themes and rainbow and stuff like that. You're going to put a little, okay, this is not the right one. You're going to put a tag on this, or some people have written on the spine of it, because these can be written on. But otherwise, put some kind of a tag on it and just stick it right in with your paper near where maybe that category is. It doesn't necessarily have to go in the box. It can go in between them. But have it right there so that when you're looking for beach paper in your loose stuff, you'll also see, there's this whole beach stack. And then you'll remember that you have it and you'll use it. So keep them there. You don't have to rip them apart. If you've used a lot of the paper in it and you're down to just a few and it's kind of a wonky tablet, then fine, you tear them apart and separate it into the whatever categories it would go into. But don't feel like you have to dismantle all of your stacks. It's not worth the time. And regardless of what size they are, you're going to do the same thing. So there's plenty of different sized paper pads. Keep them, if this is, these are not all the same category, but if they were, just keep them here. Keep them right exactly where you're going to find it, whether it's 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, even these little 6 by 6 and 5 by 7, whatever this is, 4 by 6. Keep them all together, tag them, flag them, so that you have fewer places to look for things. The fewer places you have to look in your craft room for any supply, the easier it's going to be, the less mentally taxing it is. You don't have to remember, I've got this paper here, but I've got this other paper over here. And then, if I only card things is over here. Okay, that is one thing that I do kind of do separately. Tiffany's going to love me. Keep all the sizes of paper together, but as a card maker, I do keep card size, like pre-cut cardstock and stuff like that. 8.5 by 11 white paper that I never use for anything other than card making. I don't necessarily keep with all of my themes and sentiments and rainbow and stuff. I have one box of that separately. That's me. If you're a card maker, you probably do kind of the same thing. But for the most part, 99% of all your stuff should be kept together in the 4 sections, regardless of the size, regardless of the use. Keep it together in the 4 sections. Okay. I think I can get off the soapbox on the paper thing. Okay, so where are we on the list here? Let me see. We went over exceptions to... Oh, another... let me see. Oh, kits. Okay, so how many people have done like Club Scrap or something like that where you get kits of stuff? Instead of like dismantling the kit, you don't want to do that because everything's been put together so because it matches and stuff, but you also don't want to forget that you have it. This is something that this is like an entire theme: adventure, celebrate, summer fun. Okay. Whatever that happens to be, you would name it what you like, or you would name it what they called it. Take the piece of paper out of it that always has like the components listed out, or take a copy of it and stick it in your system of paper so that when you're going through, looking through adventure paper, you see, oh, I have this whole kit of adventure things. It's got the number on it, tells you where to go, write that on your paper, and then you can go get, box number 103 is your adventure one. That way, these take up a lot of space. You can have them off somewhere. As long as you're representing it in your paper system, you'll remember that you have it and you'll use it. What a concept. Okay, so that's kits. We went through stacks. Okay, the next thing is scraps. I know some of you, your gut just tightened up a little bit, didn't it? I know people who, okay, I kind of used to be one. I didn't like to throw out any scraps if it was like any significant size because it was beautiful paper. I loved it. And I thought, oh, I can use that for something. I'll use it for something. But then if it's where you can't ever find it, you don't ever use it. You always just grab a whole sheet of paper. I have plenty of paper. You probably do too. So for those of you who keep and use scraps, if you're really already using them, you might have a good system right now how to use them. If not, but you think you will, once you're all organized this way, figure out a minimum scrap size. If you're a card maker, it doesn't even have to be 12 inches long. For a scrapbooker, maybe 12 by 6 or something like that, if you need to have that big. Minimum size could be more like 6 by 6. But have your minimum size. Don't make your minimum size 2 by 3. That's something that you should be throwing out. You don't have to keep every little thing. Even if you can, use it for a punch. Even if you can, use it for a little tag or something. Punch it or make a tag out of it and then file that in your rainbow and be done with it. But don't keep all those little scraps. It's too much to keep track of. But when it comes to keeping scraps, once again, you don't want to have to say, here's where I keep my paper, here's where I keep my cardstock, my scraps are over there, you keep everything together. So within your paper, you're going to have a place to keep your scraps. So this is, wow, that's a whole lot of stuff. This looks like fall. We've got like browns and stuff like that. You can have a basic manila folder, and this can go right into your rainbow section, or what did I just say, fall, so it's going to go in your fall section, and you're going to find it when you're going through your fall stuff. You'll know every one of these manila folders that you see there, that's your scraps, and you'll know to just grab that, put it back, use it. If all you need is a punch, if all you need is to mat a photo or something like that, you'll find them if you keep them with your other papers. Don't keep them in huge tubs that take a ton of sorting through and all that kind of stuff. Keep them by the same 4 sections. In paper, you really only have 3 of them. We don't have alphabets, but keep them in themes and sentiments, rainbow, calendar year, and just flag them if it's easier to find them in there, but keep them with your papers. And get rid of them if you don't use them. There's no scrap police. There's no scrapbooker police. It's okay to get rid of them. And if you really think that they're that precious, but you have too many of them and you're not going to use them, add that to the purge pile that goes to someone who might actually use it. Teachers, what do I say? Like childcare centers, hospitals, different places. There's been a ton of discussion in the Get Organized Challenge group and over the years of all the really great places to take the things that you're getting rid of that are still perfectly usable. Take whatever papers you don't want. It can include scraps if you think they're valuable, but you won't use them. And just free yourself of them. Let them go. Release them. Release them. What did our Cozy Crop House, Kate had said, I think I can let that go. Isn't that what she said? There was a phrase, I think I can let that go. She said that so much, and it was so freeing and super inspiring to me. To think about, Tiffany would hold something up, and she'd just say, I think I can let that go. And we'd all do a little happy dance, and it was really nice because obviously there were things that she wasn't going to use or, whatever. You have those things as well. Start repeating that I think I can let that go and start letting it go, and it just frees up space for the things that you will use. So don't feel bad about it. Another couple of options for scrap storage. This is a side loader this isn't a side loader single because it isn't a scrap rack page. What is this? I should know what this is, shouldn't I? This looks like a side loader single, but there's no 3-hole punch. Wow. You know what? We're not going to talk about that. What we will talk about is the Scrap Master. This was technically designed for holding scraps because people wanted to have something specifically for scraps. So this is a huge folder. It also has room in the middle for paper. It is a folder. It can go this way and be the tabs here, or it can go on a shelf like this, or it can, either direction. Either way, it's a folder and it wraps around a bunch of paper, which I'm going to take out. But in the meantime, it's also a big 12 by 12 pocket on the outside. Okay, there's a big 12 by 12 there. There's these gusseted different pockets here, 12 by 6. This is probably 6 by 4 and 6 by 8. There's a slash pocket, so this is more for the 12 by 12 that maybe, is not an entire sheet. And then there's another 12 by 12 on the back. So you can get a lot of, this is clearly a theme, all of your scraps that you're using, or you can put whole collections in here. But this is made for scraps. If you have an entire color in here, you could this is broken down by sizes this way. And an entire color or theme, obviously, this is a brilliant way to keep scraps. And if you're working on something, you can keep 12 by 12 of that project in there, all the scraps in here, and have it together. But that is a way to keep scraps if you're going to be using them. And they go in all of our paper storage boxes, or they can stand alone on a shelf. And I don't need to get into all the product right now. We're going to do product at the end. But if you're going to do scraps, have a minimum size. Keep to that minimum size. Write it down so you remember. And only keep ones that you're really going to use. You know that you have plenty of paper. And if your habit is to just grab a whole sheet of paper and you're not running out, maybe rethink whether or not you're going to keep scraps. That's it on scraps. Okay. Let's see. So when it comes to actually storing your paper, once again, vertical. We are all about the vertical here. Horizontal, people have gotten all of those paper racks from stores because the store is going out of business, which unfortunately there's far too many scrapbook stores that have gone out of business. But they make you a really good deal on those, what look like really cool very professional looking stacks, paper stack things to stack your paper horizontally. The reason those work in a store is because everything that's in that slot is exactly the same thing. And if you have colored paper that you're only going to put one color of each thing and you have a stack of it, maybe that makes sense, but there's a lot more dust and light and everything else all over the surface of that. If you do anything that is more than one thing, then you're having to flip through it, which ends up dog-earing your paper more than when you go through it like this. It's way better vertical space-wise. People have taken stuff out of a huge tall tower and gotten it into this much space vertically because there's a lot of wasted space in between. I mean, that's the whole point. It might look pretty, and if you prefer that, by all means do it. Just get your paper organized so you can get to it. But if you're running out of space or you're trying to figure out the best use of your space, vertical is always going to be the thing. So we sell these paper handlers, which are a plastic hard box. It also has a handle so you can take it with you. The cardboard ones they're lighter weight. They're not as sturdy as this thing is, but they're completely adequate if you're keeping it on your shelf. Both of these can also go this direction. So that way you don't have to, like, when this is on the shelf, you're having to pull things out sometimes to get it out, and that'll eventually get really annoying. So if you have it on the shelf like this, then you're just pulling your paper straight out, and it's way easier. So if you don't have our stuff, it's totally fine. Still go vertical. Put it on a shelf, one that holds paper. It's got to be at least 12 by 12. You can have bookshelves, even in crates and hanging file folders, whatever makes you happy. But I'm still gonna say vertical. It's people that have switched to vertical. I don't think I know anybody who's gone back and said, no, I can't stand that vertical thing. It's always a huge space saver, and it's better on your paper. It's better for you to find things. So I'm just gonna say vertical. Get over it. The other option is, well, are we to the point of just going through products now? Because I can talk about the scrap rack. Let's see. I think that's basically it as far as the class goes. So let's just go over what you're going to need to finish this challenge. And then after that, I'm going to go through all the products that we have. It's going to be a really quick thing. But to complete this challenge, now that I'm assuming that in the first week, if you haven't done the first week yet, don't start this. Go back and do the first week, because in the first week, you've brought all of your stuff together. So you should have all of your paper in one place. This is all you're going to work on this time. You're only going to work on paper. You find embellishments, you find photos, you find whatever, tools. None of that stuff is anything we're dealing with. This is entirely paper. And some of you are fine with that, and it's going to take more than this week, and that's okay, because as you're going through, this week it's going to be however many inches of paper you're supposed to go through, but for the rest of the challenge, there's still going to be and do a few more inches of paper, and do a few more inches of paper, and that's going to be every week, so don't feel like you have to get through all of your paper this week. You just get through the 8 inches of paper that is on the homework, and that's an inch at a time or a box at a time or whatever you can do at the time that you have to sit down and do it. Get through that, consider it done, that amount, give yourself a high five, get back to whatever it is, and then come back and do another couple of inches later, or plow through 8 at a time, or get through 2 feet at a time, whatever you can do. But only take on the amount that you can get through in the time that you have, and then you can say that you're finished rather than having to come back to a half-sorted stack. Way better for your brain and for your emotions to be able to say, I got through this, even if it's 2 inches, than to only get through 2 inches of a 24-inch stack and feel like, oh, I got so much more to do. So little pieces just to get through. So you're going to need to have a purge box handy to get rid of the things that you're not going to use. You're going to need some kind of dividers or sorting templates, and you're going to need something to put it in when you're done. That's going to go into your organized only space. So that's really all you're going to need for paper, and then you're just going to need time and go through it. One thing to remember, we do have an ugly paper contest this week. So find your ugliest paper. Some of you that have done the challenge for multiple times probably don't have any more ugly paper unless you went out and bought another stack and there's something really ugly in it. But so the old timers might not win the ugly paper contest, but you new people might have some seriously weird things in your paper collection. So try to find the worst one, and you can submit one to the Facebook group. I'll put up a post that'll stay at the top where you'll post your contribution to the ugly photo contest, the ugly paper contest. And at the end of the week, right before next week's thing, we'll pick winners. And those people get something. It's not a gift certificate. You'll get something like paper storage or something like that. So keep that in mind. Put it into your purge box, but then at the end of the week, go through your purge box, pull out the ugliest thing, and post it. And it's always very fascinating how many are, at least half of them I look at and go, oh my gosh, I really like that. And then there's some that you think, I can't believe that was ever printed. I don't get how some companies print some of those things. So some of them are horrifying. Those are the winners. So put in the ugliest stuff. Don't throw it away yet. And then at the end of the contest, you are going to get rid of that. Okay, so are you seeing any questions that need to be answered?
Just to remind people that if they aren't getting the emails, just to email customer service.
Oh, okay. So if you're not getting any emails from us and you're sure that you have signed up, it is possible that there's a glitch. Definitely check your junk folders first. Look for Totally Tiffany. Just do a search for Tiffany, and they should come up if you have anything from us. If you're not getting them, email us at customerservice@totally-tiffany.com, and we will figure out what the problem is. But do check all your junk folders and do a search and see if you're maybe you really are getting them. Okay, so your homework this week is to choose a storage tool for your paper, whatever you're going to be doing. Create templates or dividers. Sort at least 8 inches of paper. Sort your scraps and throw away anything that doesn't meet your minimum. Put your organized paper into your organized only space. Then post your progress on the Facebook group. Something that isn't in your list, but let me see if I can add it before I send it out. Submit to the ugly paper contest. And then when you're done, celebrate with reward number 2. I saw some really cool posts for reward number 1. Someone got a massage. Someone else, it was so cute. Her prize for getting through number 1 was that she got to just spend time on like YouTube or probably Pinterest, going through people's craft rooms and just looking at inspiration and ideas, which can be sometimes it's frustrating. But it can give you a lot of good ideas. Still keep in mind all the stuff that we talk about with vertical and all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of wasted space in some of those rooms. Anyway, do your reward, have fun with that. Hopefully you're working towards your rewards on each one of these. Hopefully that's keeping you motivated. If not, you need to find some better rewards. Okay, so at this point, I'd say get going with your sorting. If you need to sit for a few more minutes, I'll show you all the options that we have for organizing your paper. So, okay, I don't think I need any of this stuff. So, some people have a scrap rack and use it for their paper. I have enough paper that I do not put it in my scrap rack. I would need another scrap rack for that, and I already have 3. So they're but I know some people put all of their paper in it and have just like mostly filled with paper, and that's totally fine if that's what you want to do. If you want to be able to flip through and have every piece of paper you have in some kind of scrap rack page. Scrap rack pages, storage pages, this is the super size single. So this is what is 12 by 12, but you can see this is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and you see the room around it. It works awesome even with the papers that have the borders. Does that one have a border? This one has a border. So even, I mean, that totally still works. There's still room around that. You can get 10 to 30 sheets in here, depending on if it's, how thick a cardstock it is and how much you want to pack it out. There is a flap on these. If you're traveling, or you just prefer to keep things closed up, you can keep the flap over the front and then everything's protected. But as you're working, you can put it behind here, and then it's just an easy in and out. That's our 12 by 12 scrap rack page. And if you're putting paper into your scrap rack, that's an awesome way. You can also put like themes. This is a whole collection theme in a 12 by 12 super single page. I do put like some themes and kits I will put in my scrap rack, but the bulk of my paper is vertical on a shelf like this. So, but these super size single pages are perfect for that. This one is called a side loader single page, which looks remarkably like, okay, so the thing I didn't know what it was before is a paper pocket. Okay, we'll get to that. So this is a side loader single page, and it's got, it's heavier plastic. It's one of our specialty pages. Some people prefer the side loader aspect, and what Tiffany has said is if your scrap rack is sitting up higher than where your seat is, sometimes it's easier to pull things out than to have to reach up and get things out. So that's kind of why this was made. But it is heavier duty. It still holds about the same amount of paper, and it's not more durable than our super single. Whoops, that's not it. Our super single pages. Any new person that hasn't heard this, our super single pages, any of our basic storage pages, people at first feel, they say, oh my gosh, this is super flimsy. How's this ever going to hold up? It's thin, but it's as durable as it gets. In the 15 years that we've been making these, we've never had to replace one because it wore out or stretched or yellowed or cracked or anything like that. The only time we ever have a problem is if the factory missed sealing a seam, or mispunched a hole or something like that. Otherwise, they do not wear out. You can cram this full. They don't fail. So don't feel like you have to go for the more expensive side loader singles, or any of the specialty pages unless you prefer them, or you just use these can be good for more delicate papers that you really don't want bending. Like, I mean, you can bend this some, but this will keep it stiffer. And if that's a deal, then side loader singles will do that. Those both are going to go into, because they have the 3-hole punch, it's going to go into our scrap rack or into a craft binder or 12 by 12 binder. Any of our binders are all standard 3-hole punch and big enough for all of our pages. Everything's designed to work together. You will not necessarily be able to get that into a standard 12 by 12 binder because they're so much bigger than 12 by 12. It'll be sticking out around the edges, but ours fit. To put things into vertical storage or any kind of filing system, this is the paper pocket. It has a tab here, so it would sit this direction, or it could sit like this. Same kind of opening and closing and same material as the side loader single, but this doesn't have the 3-hole punch. So this is I'm familiarizing myself. This is a paper pocket. Now we all know. Those are great, again, for keeping things together or for just having something that is a little stiffer, would protect maybe more delicate dies or doily, kind of like really nice die cut paper that has to not flop at all. This is the collection keeper. Same plastic again. This is a specialty page. This is I love these for collections. It's got the 3 pockets again, with a locking tab. This one isn't gusseted; it's more flat, and then the big 12 by 12 on the other side. So this is great for paper, scraps, collections, whatever you happen to have. This is okay. So that's that one, collection keeper. There's also. I was showing the paper storage box dividers. This is what they look like in the package. You get 10 of them. And you can see this only looks like I have 5 because they're all together. You take the other 5 and flip them over, and you end up with all 10 across. So you can get 10, but if you're doing it if you were putting this way, right now, 5 of them disappeared. So if you're going to have your paper this way, or like this, you would not flip those other 5 over. Let's see if I can do this. You'd bring these 5 back around and have them all here, so that they only go to here. Does that make sense? Can you see that? So you get 10 in a package, and those are the paper storage box dividers. Maybe show them this way. And those work in any of our paper storage boxes. They also work in this is a 12 by 12 fab file. So if you prefer to have things closed up, if you end up taking your paper places, this is a 12 by 12. It includes paper pockets. They're like a file pocket. It's sealed on the bottom. They're all tabbed. This is an option. We have a thing on, if you look under paper storage on our site, it shows the difference in the widths of all of these things. The cardboard ones hold the most. They are the biggest, but they're not good for travel. They're really just good for adding as a divider, support on your shelf. These are good for travel. They hold a little bit less, and these hold less. But this one completely closes up, has a handle. This is good for keeping full projects in as well, because of the fact that it's all enclosed. These work well. They drop into tubs and totes really easily. This is really great for travel. You can label it, have it on the side labeled, and just pull it off your shelf as well. So if you have a problem with a lot of dust or something, and just really prefer to keep things closed up, that is definitely an option. All of our things also come in multiple sizes. So the 12 by 12 is what we've been showing. That's what this is. This is 6 by 6. I just love this size. It's so cute. So if, like I said, we're keeping things together, you're keeping all your sizes together, this can sit right alongside your 12 by 12 and your 8.5 by 11. Here we go. 8.5 by 11. This one's vertical. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. You should have run over here, Max. You saw it go. I'm on totally wonky ground here. Okay. So 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11. Again, it has tabbed folders that go in. Can go either direction. Also has the pull-up handles. So we have 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, which is also A4 size, right? A4. So the bigger European papers will also fit in that. We have 6 by 6. We have an 8 by 8 fab file. We do not have an 8 by 8 paper handler, no matter how much Terry continues to tell us that we need to have one. We don't have an 8 by 8 paper handler yet. Maybe one day, but for right now, 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, 6 by 6, and then fab files in all of those sizes as well. I think this is the 8 by 8. Okay. So plenty of options, and all the links for all of these things is going to be on your follow-up email. What else do I need to talk about? The scrap rack. I haven't shown the scrap rack yet, right? The scrap rack, like I said, is an option for paper. I showed you the pages that go into it. If you haven't seen the scrap rack, is this something you can see with the camera? Okay. This is a scrap rack on kind of a low shelf for it, but this is how it works. It is a metal base like this, and it collapses. But when it's set up, it's like this. It has wings and then 3 ring binder sections. Let me just pull one off. Fit on here. And you can have, this is a great big thing of paper. This is a side loader single with a travel kit, it looks like, in there. And we have plenty of other pages for other things, but you can definitely put your paper into your scrap rack. Super simple to flip through and see and have all your things. This is one option. All these options. One last thing. The paper cart, which, can I zoom in on this thing? I don't think it's not in it, is it? Okay. The paper cart, this is just a teaser because we're actually out of them, and HSN is out of them as well. But this is the paper cart filled with a fab file. Is everything still on? Okay. Paper handlers. This is actually, she's got vinyl in here. But this holds a ton of paper. People love these things. It wheels around 360 degrees. It holds over 100 pounds of paper, and that's not how much is in this right now. But these are awesome. I know people who have multiples of these. We're trying to get them back on HSN, but this is just a little bit of a teaser. If you don't already have one of these, just get yourself on the waiting list. I'm sure they'll be coming back. But this is, in the meantime, you can still organize all your paper in these boxes and stuff, and then when you finally get a paper cart, you can add it to this. So you'll just have to find a place on your shelf in the meantime. But that's kind of it. I think that's all the things that we can put paper in that we make. I think I've remembered everything. So I guess that's it. Thank you for bearing with me as I try to do Tiffany's job here. Now you can all go back to watching HSN. The next time Tiffany's on, I'm trying to remember what it is. I hope she hasn't been on while we've been doing this.
It's like 12:30 our time.
12:30. Okay, so in an hour and a half, be sure to watch Tiffany on HSN. But in the meantime, you've got a lot of paper to sort and organize. And if you have any questions, you know to call us, 253-284-9200, or customer service at totally-tiffany.com. We'll answer your questions. I am going to go back through and see if there's any questions that need to be answered again. But otherwise, just watch for your follow-up email and have a great week.